Hello aspirants, this is me Yasmin Gill, and in today's video we'll be covering the PIB highlights of 4th of April. So you can follow all these highlight videos on this particular link, and you can also rate and review the course. So how can you do so? You can go on Unacademy, there you can search PIB April. So once you search PIB April, you'll come across a separate course. It is not the Hindi course, this one is the English course. So just click on it, and under review section you can write your review, plus with the help of stars you can give the star ratings. So let's begin. We don't have in fact we do not have any worthy PIB update today. So what we'll be doing is one article from Indian Express that is related to GST. So it goes on to say the best GST there can be. It is written by Arvind Subramaniam, the Chief Economic Advisor in Ministry of Finance. So let's understand the views regarding it. Firstly, GST has almost entered its last phase of formulation. Already 4 laws have been passed related to CGST, IGST, etc. The only issue majorly which is remaining right now is determination of tax rate. That is what will be the slabs, if at all slab system is followed, and in slabs also what will be the tax rate. Last year there was an agreement on 5 broad GST slabs. There were 4. One was obviously exempted one, that is 0%. The other 4 were 5%, 12%, 18% and 28%. So last year there was an agreement on this. Last year there was also an agreement related to the method to be used to basically finance the compensation to states. So how would be the states be compensated? Last year it was agreed that they would be compensated by using cesses. So these cesses would be levied on certain demerit goods such as tobacco and aerated beverages, etc. So this was what was decided last year. And Arvind Subramaniam goes on to say that this is a constitutional movement for GST. Now what do we mean by this statement? See, he means that right now we are changing the system. So whatever rate we will decide now, it will go on for a considerable time. So we must be very thoughtful in deciding this new rate of GST. What should be the guiding principle in deciding this rate? Guiding principle should not be based on populist measures. It should basically be based on what is good for GST. What will make GST a good GST? And what is a good GST? Something that will facilitate compliance, something that will minimize inflation, bring revenue buoyancy to states and center, and also be public supportive. Rich, they must be taxed adequately, and similarly the poor, they must not be tax burdened. So this is the whole idea that must be followed in determining the major issue, which is tax rate. So we'll be discussing 5 topics related to the tax rate. First one is called tax structure. So if you look at various other emerging economies, India is relatively a high GST country. Why? Because our topmost slab is set up at 28%. So what is the solution that Arvind Subramaniam puts forward? He says that we must eliminate the 28% and 18% slab, and rather we must combine them into a 20% slab. If this thing is not possible, if we cannot eliminate these 2 slabs, what should be done is we must try to bring least number of items under 28% slab, and maximum of them should be brought under 18% slab, so that we are not presumed to be a high GST country among the emerging economies. Now what should 28% slab items include? They should include certain demerit goods and not services, and certain luxury items, for example air conditioners, cars, etc. While there is one big risk of being too many items being put in the 28% slab, and hence India being called a high GST country. On the other hand, there is another pressure coming up. This pressure is coming up from states in order to place goods and services in lower tax slabs of 5% and 12%. Now why is this so? Now items that would be coming up in 5% and 12%, 5% particularly, they are mainly the essential goods used by many of us. So that actually gives the states a very big tax base. And a big tax base implies better income. So what do states want? They want more and more goods and services to be placed in lower rate slabs of 5% and 12%. So on the one hand, we have to check that not many items are put in 28% slab. On the other hand, we must also be careful that not many items are put in 5% and 12% slab as well, under the pressure of states. Because see, if more and more goods are put in lower slab, there will be a counter pressure that why are you putting all the goods in the lower slab? We must put some goods in the 28% slab as well. So this is all pertaining to tax structure. We must very much careful be about the uppermost slab and the lowermost slab. So a result should, if we actually go on under the pressure of states, what will be following is a populist GST, which should not be the solution. So what could be the solution here? See, right now center has actually assured the state a minimum guarantee of 14% growth in revenue. So they could say, center could say to states that we do not guarantee you a 14% revenue now. Why? Because you are asking us to put more and more goods under lower tax slabs. If more and more goods are put under lower tax slabs, you will be already earning better, and therefore we do not ensure you a 14% growth in revenue, but we ensure you a 12% increase in revenue. So this is about the tax structure. Second point here is goods and services written this way and separately. So what does this signify? See, due to coming of technology and modern economy, the distinction between goods and services is blurring. Therefore, it is difficult for tax authorities to distinguish between good and a service. So they should not be unnecessarily burdened in order to distinguish a good from a service. A better solution could be, why not have a single rate so that misclassification is avoided. A very good example portrayed in the article is, for example, there is a dealer who sells an air conditioner to you. Simultaneously, he also provides installation service. So now imagine a scenario, this is a good whereby he sells an AC, while this is a service whereby he helps in installation. So in the final bill he makes, there will be two tax slabs. One is for the sale, that is for the good, which is 28%, simultaneously 18% for service. So this will be very complex, and it will in fact create the incentive for dealer to put more and more costs under the service head. So this should be prevented. Next is textile and clothing. So why is textile industry important to India? Because it is basically we have an upper hand in it, and we want to become a major clothing exporter as well, particularly in the man-made fibers. But right now what happens is that there is a favoritism which is shown towards cotton-based products as compared to man-made fibers. So cotton-based products, they are mainly consumed by rich, while man-made fibers, they are mainly consumed by poor people. But there is a favoritism shown towards cotton-based products. So solution here is that this favoritism should be done away with. All textiles should be subjected to a standard 18% rate. And this should be applied throughout the value chain, including from raw materials up to final goods. So this is third topic. Finally, we have gold. So last year in 2016 budget, there was this 1% excise duty levied on gold. But gold lobby protested a lot to it, but government did not revert the decision. So Arvind Subramaniam goes on to say that gold must be actually treated as any other luxury consumption item, and therefore it should be taxed at 18%. But simultaneously, there is this concern that higher tax could lead to evasion. Therefore, what could be done is that we could actually go for a GST rate of 12%. Already, the tax burden which is being faced by gold consumers is close to 10 to 12% due to the current cascading and no input tax credits received. So even if GST is set at 12%, that won't be a major problem. So gold, this rate is being targeted by Arvind Subramaniam. Finally, we have tobacco. So under tobacco, most of the states right now, they earn a good revenue from it, and they tax it at very high rates, saying that it is a demerit good. But there is a distortionary policy which is being followed here. What is it? That while tobacco goods, most of them, they are taxed at higher rates, BDs are taxed at lower rates. The reason given is that BDs are mainly produced by small scale sector, and they provide livelihood to quite many people. But this should not be the criteria. In fact, both of them cause equal damage to health, and therefore consumption wise both are harmful, and both should be taxed at a standard rate. So issue of BD workers, it could be resolved through certain other measures, for example subsidies and so on. Also, there is a lot of interstate variation in the BD taxation as well. While states such as West Bengal, it applies lower taxes on BDs, but states such as Karnataka, Rajasthan, it applies heavy taxes on BDs. So we'll have to look forward what way the center follow and which state does it try to favor. Next we have is countervailing duty and special additional duty exemption. So what are these duties? Basically, countervailing duty. Countervailing duty is a sort of import tax. it is a sort of import tax which you apply in order to save your domestic industry or domestic manufacturers. But right now, various exemptions are given on countervailing duty and special additional duty. So, if under the proposed GST, we are again to apply IGST, that is integrated GST on imports. But if the same exemptions are given again, so what will it result into? It will hurt the Make in India campaign, because once you are exempting these, just like the current CVD and SAD exemptions are being given, so domestic production won't be favored and this will hurt Make in India. The concluding line is simple, that GST is a big achievement, especially in a country whereby a federal structure is being followed. So it's a good example of cooperative federalism, but simultaneously, the prime issue, which is rate structure, it should be carefully determined, it should be low, it should be simple and efficient. Then we have these MCQs from today's session. One is related to National Commission on Backward Classes. Then we have about African Development Bank. Finally, about binary stars which were in news, and about Kishori Amonkar from culture. So then we have about Jaipur Gharana as well. So you can check these answers in the MCQ session, and you can also rate and review the course. Also recommend these lessons to your friends as well. Thank you so much.